Hi there, I'm Christopher Dunn again. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge 6 Light Large. Check out this video on the smaller one too, because they are both really great. This is the 136357, and we have a lot of detail to get into, so let's jump in, okay? So when we talk about the size of the fixture body itself, this is the distance from the bottom of the fixture to where this starts, and these are telescoping rods, so it's really just the bottom part of this, not what it's hanging from. So that's going to be 17.8 inches tall, 58.6 inches wide, 21.9 inches in depth. So if you were looking down on this, it's not round, it's an oval shape, basically call it that, and it's pretty big, almost 60 inches long. It's also a big detail on this. A lot of people think that those arms are movable. They are not movable. It's all fixed. Also important for you guys to know. Okay. So when we get into the adjustable ranges on this, overall, we call that overall height, and that's going to be the distance from the bottom of the fixture to the actual ceiling itself. There's a pull-down menu up there. You can pull that down. It's going to show you 3 different options that you guys can use to kind of get where you need to go before we go custom, which I'll talk about in a second. So that's going to be short is 32.1 to 41.1, standard is 42.6 to 51.6, and after that you have a long range, and that's going to be 50.9 to 59.9. And when I talk about ranges, I'm talking about ranges because this thing is telescoping. Hubbardton has a patent on this whole telescoping rod system. Oops, stay there. Smaller rod telescoping into a bigger rod. Where they come together is called a clutch. It's this little piece here and has a little tiny set screw here, and a friction sleeve is hiding inside of it. So during your installation, you're going to be able to bring the whole fixture up and down to get it where you want it to be. When you do have it where you want it to be, you're going to be locking it all into place using the little tiny set screw, the little hex nut right there with this little tiny wrench. It's going to keep it from going up and down anymore. And more about that is I want to show you the installations instructions, because I want to show you a lot of these details, and a great way to do that is to look at these install sheets. These are going to be the same ones that are going to be in the box when you get this. There are line drawings on there that show you lots of details about the inside of this fixture that you can't see from looking at a photograph. So if you're on the page for this on our site, look over at that side of the screen. Midway down you're going to see a link. It's going to say click here for installations instructions PDF. Open that up for me. So it's going to show you how the whole thing goes together, which is super easy. It's going to show you you've got a 5x7 oval canopy, which is a little different than Hubbardton Forge's round canopies. It just goes over a standard 4-inch junction box, just like that. This only weighs 14.6 pounds. It is super light, so it only has to hang from this. You don't have any kind of weight restriction on it. The other thing I didn't mention in this other video, the smaller one, this is slope ceiling adaptable to 45 degrees. So where this stem meets the canopy up at the top, there's a knuckle right there. And what this knuckle can magically do is bend. So it bends just like that. So you have your slope ceiling adaptability automatically. You don't have to worry about any kind of customization to get you to be slope ceiling adaptable. Okay? So, like I said, this goes onto a junction box, pretty simple. It's less than 15 pounds, so you don't have to worry about any of those things. You have your adjustable ranges. If you need it to be shorter than the short or longer than the long, we do customs every day. So what you would do is you would come in and say, I'm looking for the 136357 in an email to me, and you're going to say, I need it to be X. Let's say it's going to be 24 inches overall height. Because we know the fixture body itself is 17.8, so we can't go down that far. But we can get down to something between that and the 32. So let's say you said 26 or 24, something like that. You got to give me a solid number. Or you need it to be longer than the long because you've got a really tall ceiling. You're coming down from like a cathedral ceiling or a second-story peak or something like that. And let's say you need it to be 156 inches overall height. You're going to email me, like I said, 136357, and you're going to say you need it to be X, one of those, whatever number it is. And I'm going to take your email. It's going to go through Hubbardton Forge's customs department. We do it all day long. It's going to come back to me, and they're going to come back most likely with a range that will encompass the number that you gave me, unless you need this to be super short, and then it's most likely going to be a fixed height. Adds a little time, adds a little money, non-returnable, but we do custom stuff every day, all day. Really simple, because Hubbardton Forge stuff is all made here, made to order, so customization is not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to be talking more in depth on glass, but right now I'm going to talk about the socket, and that's going to be a little important when we get into how the glass goes onto the fixture. So Let's talk about socket to begin with, okay? So it's going to be using a G9 socket, and a lot of people think G9 automatically means halogen, but it doesn't. But it is going to be, you can use halogen bulbs in this if you want to. You can use up to 40 watts for each of these sockets, and you've got 6 of them, so 40 watt halogen. If you're doing halogens, you can use the old time dimmers that are out there in the world to dim it down. It's a dimmable fixture. If you guys want to go LED, that's fine too. I talk about these LEDs all the time. I love them. I use them all over my showroom. So this one is a cob LED. You can see it looks like a little corn cob. Same deal with this guy. This is a phosphorus LED. It's got a strip inside of that, and these come in different sizes and different lengths and all that good stuff. Some of them are frosted, some of them are not frosted. Depending on which piece of glass you're going to be using on this, we know that this shape of glass is clear, and it's going to be held onto the actual socket with this little retaining tube. You'll be able to see this in the installations instructions. So the tube has threading on the inside. You're going to be using it to secure the glass onto the fixture. Remember this, so it just screws on, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So you're going to be putting on, turning it to the right slowly until you're snuggling on there. The socket on this is going to be poking right down through the middle of that, just like that. So remember, your bulb is going to be kind of poking out the end, and this is somewhat clear. So if you're going to be using this shape of glass, right, you want to kind of zero in on a bulb that's going to be aesthetically pleasing. So I would probably get one of these that has a frosting on it, kind of like this one. So see that milky frosting? So that's fine. Or you might want to go for something like this too, so it'd be more interesting there. So it's a little detail, but it's something you just want to get right. The good news is bulbs are so inexpensive, you can kind of try out all kinds of different ones, and it doesn't really matter. This guy, because you can't get your hand in this, you're going to be putting the bulb on first, and then just sliding it on, and then you're going to tighten it to get it to hold on to the fixture itself. And remember, on this one, you actually have an embedded ring in the glass, and it's got threading on the inside. So you're good to go on all of that. I talk about the color of light and LEDs all the time. Another detail, if you're going to go LED, tell your installer that you're doing LEDs so they put the right dimmer on the wall. Really important. Like I said, I talk about the color of light all the time for coming out of LEDs because a lot of people are just kind of getting used to the LED world. This is 3000 Kelvin. It's that warm white. I like it a lot. It's lower on the Kelvin scale, so that's going to be 3000 Kelvin right here. You could even find 2700 Kelvin. That's going to be even more yellow. But if you guys like that cooler, whiter, crisper daylight, that's that blue light, that's going to be 4000, 5000 Kelvin on the Kelvin scale. And the little chart on the box, if you're in a hardware store and you're picking it up and you're looking at this thing, will kind of tell you with a little tiny arrow where you are on that spectrum. If you're on any of the websites like Amazon or something like that, it'll just put the number right out there. It'll say 5000 Kelvin or 3000 Kelvin warm white. So just remember, warm white, 3000 Kelvin, cooler light, 4000, 5000 Kelvin, and you're good to go. So something we really need to get into in detail is going to be the glass on this fixture. It's going to come in 2 different shapes. Those different shapes are going to be available in different types. So there's a lot of detail to zero in on and really focus on here. And as we talked about before, the 2 shapes, they actually attached differently to the fixture itself. So let's hop into this for a second. This is going to be one of these shapes, and you'll notice it's kind of a pinch on the side. So it's kind of a cup shape. It's hand blown, absolutely beautiful. Hole on the end, and as we talked about before, this is the one that's going to be using this piece right here. This is a metal tube. It has threading in the end, and what you're going to be doing is putting your hand in. You're going to be screwing this to the right. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and this is going to be going over the socket to attach this to the fixture itself. This piece is going to be available in 2 different types. So it's going to be available in, this is called cool gray, which is really pretty. It's also going to be available in clear. So both of these types, actually, you can see through. They're clear on their own. So you're going to be able to see the bulb popping out of this, which is why we talked about before that you want to do some sort of most likely frosted bulb or stick with your halogen, one of the 2. Frosted bulb if you're doing an LED. Halogen, you're going to be doing a frosted one anyway if you go there. So anyway, that's going to be one of your options. So kind of remember that. So clear, cool gray, or clear. Just regular clear, okay? But remember, you can see through both. And they have that cute little pinch on the side. It looks like someone went like that, just like that. Okay, this is the other one. So this is the one, this reminds me a lot. I used to work in the design world in the city before I came back to Vermont. I grew up here. And one of the things we used to work with was Daum glass from France, D-A-U-M. If you do a Google search on it, bring it up, and you'll see unbelievable, beautiful glass going back for hundreds of years. This reminds me so much of Daum. It's not even funny. But it's not Daum, but I don't know how they, how Hubbardton Forge magically came up with some beautiful design like this and found somebody that could do something of this quality is beyond me. But, okay, let's talk about the shape on this. So, you notice the shape is very different than this shape, okay? This is just a very simple, kind of almost like a red wine shape with a couple pinches in it. This one's very different. You notice the top of this has these beautiful indentations in it, okay? And then you have a couple dimples on the side, both sides, right? That's where they actually took, when it was still hot, they took little tongs and they pushed in to make the sides there. And then you see the end on this is actually a smaller hole kind of pinched in. So this is an absolutely gorgeous piece. You can get it really close to you. A tricky thing about it is that it has this silver ring embedded in the glass and it has threading inside. This is going to screw over the socket just like this. And you actually want to have, like we talked about before, you want to have your light bulb in before you put it in because you can't get your hand in the end of this. So you're just going to slowly turn it to the right and it'll go right onto the threading of the socket and it's going to be fabulous. It says it's frosted. It's frosted on the inside. I don't know how they did it. It's most likely either sandblasted or it's an acid of some sort. But they were able to actually sandblast or make this matte on the inside. The outside is actually glossy. I mean, this is just so beautiful. So it has this incredibly translucent, milky quality to it. It's a great piece of glass. I might just buy the glass on its own and see if I can find out something I can do with it because it's so cool. So anyway, these are going to be your two different shapes and types of glass. So remember, this one's going to be cool gray and cool gray or clear, and both of them are clear. You can see right through them, as you can see me, right? This one is going to be this glossy on the outside, matte on the inside, and you're not going to be able to see the bulb for the most part on this one. You might be able to see a little bit of it, but not much. So just you don't have to be so careful when you're buying the bulbs for this guy because it's going to be more opaque. Okay, so remember that on both of these how they work. Let's get into finishes now. If you're on the HandmadeInVermont.com website, look over on this side of the screen. Midway down, you're going to see a tab. It's going to say Finishes Help Guide. Click on that for me. There's going to be a video on there of me talking to you guys about the differences in Hubbardton Forge finishes and how they can look on different types of forging. I'm going to be talking about a chart a little farther down on the page. You'll see it next to me here. It's going to kind of go over the differences between heavy forging and non-heavy forging, and it'll be talked about in that video. So it's really important that you kind of watch the video, use the chart. You can click on that chart on different things. So you can click on dark smoke and a big page will pop up and show you lots of different things in dark smoke. Click on burnished steel or natural iron, it'll do the same thing. But it's really important that you understand how Hubbardton Forge's finishes are kind of divided into translucent and opaque and how they can look on different fixtures. Our showroom in Vermont has we're up to 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures spread across 2 floors. We have a What's on Display page. It's way up there in those red tabs again, so click on that and you can see what we have to show you. That changes all the time because we're always adding things as they come out. Showroom's open every day except Sunday from 11 to 6. We have an amazing clearance center here too. Clearance center stuff is 75% off MSRP. It's returns, discontinued things, and showroom samples. If you were coming to visit us, bring a good-sized vehicle, something like a big SUV or maybe a small truck or something like that, because you might find something in the clearance center that you want to take home, and it's a lot of fun to go through. 75% off MSRP is an amazing bargain, so you should really take advantage of it if you can. Like I said, we're open every day except Sunday from 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can call us at 802-446-2400 during business hours. You can email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. We love to answer emails. When you buy your Hubbardton Forge fixtures from HandmadeInVermont.com, shipping is free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. There's no tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont, and we're the only dealer with 90-day returns and no restocking fees. No one else even comes close to that. Some larger items are non-returnable. We'll always tell you about that. It'll be in the description thing, that part of the description underneath on the very bottom. So keep an eye out for that. We also offer a rush program. Hubbardton Forge generally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get product out. They don't stock anything. That's how you're going to get all your finishes, your adjustable ranges to play with, all those things. We can cut that time in half, and it's super inexpensive. If you want to know more, drop a quick email, and I can walk you through the whole thing, okay? So, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. Love to see you in our showroom sometime, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.